Poor written T, changing all the time. Written T is pronounced several ways. In this video, we practice numbers 13 through 90, T or D. First, let's review. What is a real T? Real T is when you blow the air out of your mouth. Tree. A flap T is when you pronounce written T as D. Water. Numbers 13 through 19 are all T, real T. You can stress either syllable. 13, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Numbers 20 through 90, the majority are pronounced D. But we begin with an exception, 20, which has a silent T. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Let's begin with the one number that has a silent T. 20. The 20s. The 1920s were the Roaring Twenties. Now it's 100 years later, 2020. You can say 2020 or 2020. And now let's compare the rest of the numbers. 13, 30, 14, 40, 15, 50, 16, 60, 17, 70, 18, 80, 19, 90, 22 is a classic novel by Joseph Heller. The phrase Catch-22 comes from a novel by Joseph Heller. It describes a no-win situation. 20. Silent T. "1984, a classic novel by George Orwell. 19. T. 80. D. Enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. Fame doesn't last. It's quick, and then the world forgets about you. This expression comes from pop artist Andy Warhol, who said, "In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes. 15. T. And now my favorite part. 99 bottles of beer on the wall is a rhyme for long car rides or long school bus trips. So let's begin. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 98 bottles of beer on the wall. 90. D. And now it's your turn. Time to practice. How many bottles of beer on the wall? First I'll sing, then you'll sing. Number 1. How many bottles of beer on the wall? 13 or 30? 13 bottles of beer on the wall, 13 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 12 bottles of beer on the wall. Two, 14 or 40? 40 bottles of beer on the wall, 40 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 39 bottles of beer on the wall. Three, 15 or 50? 15 bottles of beer on the wall, 15 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 14 bottles of beer on the wall. Four, 16 or 60? 16 bottles of beer on the wall, 16 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 15 bottles of beer on the wall. Five, 17 or 70? 70 bottles of beer on the wall, 70 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 69 bottles of beer on the wall. Six, 18 or 80? 80 bottles of beer on the wall, 80 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 79 bottles of beer on the wall. Seven, 19 or 90? 90 bottles of beer on the wall, 90 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 89 bottles of beer on the wall. 8. A secret number. 20 bottles of beer on the wall, 20 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 19 bottles of beer on the wall. And the quiz word list. Silent T, 20. Real T, 13, 15, 16. Flap T, 40, 70, 80, 90. And now I have a secret for you. If you want to learn the 5 ways we use numbers in daily life, you can go to evaeaston.com/numbers-5-ways/. If you like this video, before you go, hit the thumbs up button and try the quiz for this lesson. Or you might like one of these related lessons.